Rise and grind, guys. We are back in the backyard here. In this video, I'm going to give you the top 10 busts after 4 weeks heading into NFL Week 5. Who has been doing the worst? Who has been an embarrassment? Who has been absolutely terrible? We're going to rip into those players right here, right now. And I want to make this one super interactive. So in the comments below, this is very important, guys. Drop the biggest bust so far. Let's lay into them. Drop the name with passion. Put an exclamation point after them. And maybe even put the word sucks right after, because some of these guys have been absolutely disgusting in reality and fantasy, and they need to be held accountable. So this episode is the top 10 busts heading into week 5, because some of these guys have been absolutely terrible. And I just took to Instagram as well, and I asked you guys. So I've got some honorable mentions after I go through this list. But man, it's been really bad for some of these players. They were drafted at very high draft capital, so they need to be held accountable because they're just not performing to our fantasy football standards. Everybody, they got to pick it up. Okay, we need these guys to perform, and our fantasy teams are our lives. They're our passions. You know, we got bragging rights on the line. We got, some people money on the line. They've got, championship trophies on the line, and these guys are just crap in the bed. So yeah, drop a name below, and I'm going to go through my top 10 players that are absolutely busts, okay? So, again, if you're new to the channel, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up. If you want direct access to me, if you guys are 0-4, hopefully you're not, or 1-3, 2-2, or even 4-0, drop a comment, below, right? Or just join my Patreon group right here. I'm going to answer some questions here below. I want to make this interactive. I can't get to all of them, but if you want direct access, patreon.com/ffcounselor. I've linked it below here. And again, I'll get to some of the comments here below. If you got specific questions, if you're in a bind right now, heading into NFL Week 5, okay? So let's talk about this, all right? Again, hit that thumbs up. It takes a second, but it really helps the channel. Thumbs ups, guys, really helps. Now, again, I'm outside here bright and early. The sun shines over the fence right into my eyes. So I'm going to do my best here. Got my notes here. I've got my 10 players. And again, the honorable mention. So first one here. Okay, this guy's absolutely disgusting. Totally sucks this year. Absolute trash. And he's the highest paid player in the NFL. Okay, of all time pretty much. Joe Burrow. Okay, let's talk about him, right? Now, he is sitting 31st amongst quarterbacks in fantasy. Now, this is not a guy I was pushing or promoting, although I was high on Jamar Chase. I want to take full credit on that. I was higher on Jamar Chase, prime for a big season, right? He looked good last year. He was a top, 11, 12 wide receiver, right? And he only played 12 games last year. So I'm like, okay, he's going to have a good year. But something was telling me I wasn't feeling warm and fuzzy with Burrow. And partly due to that was the preseason injury, whatever his leg or hammy or whatever it was. He was banged up a little bit before the season. And maybe that lingered into the beginning of the season. Maybe that's impacting this. But either way, there's no excuse. The guy's sitting 31 in fantasy points with 31.42 fantasy points. It's ridiculous, okay? To put this in context, Desmond Ridder is 27th amongst quarterbacks 4 weeks in. Sam Howell is 18th, and C.J. Stroud is top 10 amongst quarterbacks. These guys were drafted well after. In fact, none of these guys were drafted. Never mind, Sam Howell, C.J. Stroud, and Desmond Ridder were not drafted unless you were in a 2-quarterback league or something like that, or you just really like the Atlanta Falcons and the Commanders or the Texans, which, again, I don't think a lot of people drafted them. And this is the year I told you, anchor your team with an ace quarterback. Unfortunately, people thought Joe Burrow was the ace quarterback. Unfortunately, he was not. So, yeah, absolutely sucks. Herbert's been my guy, carrying my team. I've been very blessed to have Herbert, who's the #1 quarterback. And again, to put it in context with the #1 quarterback and Joe Burrow, 95.74 points for Herbert after 4 weeks. And we have Joe Burrow with, again, about 31 points. Pretty disgusting. Now, one more thing I want to talk about Joe Burrow here to put this in context as well. The guy is #3 in passing attempts, which you think, okay, he's #3 in passing attempts. This guy's going to get it done. Listen to this, 57.6% passing percentage, okay? 57.6, which puts him 41 in passing percentage. That's ridiculous. And again, I can sit here and list all of the people that suck on the Bengals, right? Jamar Chase. I'm going to name another one here at #4, but, everybody's suffering because of this. So Joe Burrow, absolute trash. Sucks. He should be ashamed of himself. #2 here. Now, people are going to rip into me into this. And don't worry, I'm going to talk to some of my guys that are not doing well. But the guy that absolutely sucks is Austin Ekeler. This guy should be ashamed of himself, okay? This guy was drafted as the 2nd overall player in fantasy. #2. Maybe even #1. And I told you, a decline is happening. Once you have a pinnacle year, a decline happens. Sure enough, Austin Ekeler sitting number 41 amongst running backs, okay? Austin Ekeler was the number 2 pick, I want to remind you, and he has crapped the bed. And you say, well, he's hurt. Well, that's the whole point. That's why I faded him. I faded Austin Ekeler because I knew he was going to either get hurt or decline, new offensive coordinator. Okay, it was going to change. He sucks. Now you can say, well, he's going to come back and do well. But, dude, this was your first overall pick. And he's what? Has 26 points over 4 weeks? He's a bust. Guys, this year, overall, he's going to bust. I don't care if he comes in. Joshua Kelly's been doing good. I mean, last week he did good, this past week, but, a couple weeks after didn't do good before that. But, not here nor there. Kelly has 2 good weeks out of 4, which, again, shows that he's capable. Isaiah Spiller is getting worked in as well. So, again, Austin Ekeler, big-time bust. I don't care what you say. I don't care if he got hurt. It counts. It definitely counts. Sucks, okay? And you can say Nick Chubb is a bust. Yeah, absolutely. The guy was drafted at the end of the first round. He busted too. Knee injury, right? Bust. And again, there's so many people that have been performing. I'm just picking on these 10, okay? And that's why I want you guys to drop a name below, okay? Number 3, I got Naji Harris. This is one of my guys here. What is he? Sitting number 37 amongst running backs after 4 weeks. The only plus side is that he looked decent in week 4. Heading into week 5, maybe he's got a chip on his shoulder knowing that his job is on the line here. Naji Harris is my number 3 biggest bust so far. Again, no particular order, just 10 that I picked here. Again, 28.4 points. Disgusting. Now, he's 49th in attempts. This is a guy that should be getting the volume. 49th in attempts amongst running backs. 49 attempts, number 24 in attempts. Let me stand corrected. 24th in attempts. This guy's supposed to be a workhorse. He's sitting 24th in attempts with only 49 attempts total. He should have got that in 1 game, or maybe 2 anyway. But again, 4.3 yards per carry. He still hasn't gotten a touchdown. This is really concerning, okay? Najee Harris sitting 37th amongst running backs. Disgusting. He's got to step it up. And mind you, he showed a little bit of sign of life in week 4. Number 4 here, this guy's absolutely brutal. I told you to avoid this guy, is T. Higgins, sitting 49th amongst wide receivers with 36.9 points, 32 targets, and 12 receptions. Let me repeat this. 32 targets and 12 receptions. So, is this a Burrow problem? Is this a T. Higgins problem? Because Higgins, even though he was being targeted, he only had 12 receptions. I think he had 1 good game. I think it was week 2 or 3. He had a couple touchdowns. But absolutely ridiculous. This is a guy I told you to avoid because he was a wide receiver 2 on his team. Wide receiver 2, and he was drafted at the end of the 2nd round. T. Higgins, people thought he's going to have this amazing year. Guys, you don't draft wide receiver 2s. We have wide receiver 1s that are struggling, like Drake London's of the world. So why would I aim low on a depth chart when I know he's the wide receiver 2 on the pecking order? He's not the alpha. We're having the same issue with Devontae Smith, who's doing okay, but he's not doing A.J. Brown numbers, right? You're getting the beta on the team. So T. Higgins, 49th amongst wide receivers, absolute bust. He sucks. He should be ashamed of himself, okay? All right, number 5 here, sitting number 12 amongst tight ends. Not as bad as some of these other guys, but Darren Waller. Some people think that it's going to be the Darren Waller from like 3 years ago with Carr. Not the same case. And again, that offense is abysmal. I mean, they're just doing terrible. 0 touchdowns, 30.3 points. And again, you can say the same thing about Daniel Jones. Absolute terrible. Honorable mention here. Guys, the Giants look bad. Darren Waller looks bad. So many players look bad on that team. I can't even explain to you how bad it is. But anyway, Darren Waller, big-time bust. People drafted him relatively high. I think he could be a solid tight end 1 and a primary target. And he has been absolutely sucking. 12th amongst tight ends. When I got Laporta later, I'm happy, man. Herbert, Laporta have been carrying my teams, and that's okay. Because once you have those aces, you're good. I've got tight end locked. I got quarterback locked. Mind you, sometimes our running backs have issues. Jahmyr Gibbs not doing the best. Bijan doing amazing. Had a good game. Could do better. I want to get him some touchdowns. But again, that's a Desmond Ridder problem and an offense problem and an Arthur Smith problem, who's using Geno Smith, because he's got that rapport with him over, his Drake Londons, which is crazy. And Kyle Pitts is doing bad. And yeah, there's a lot of people doing bad. But again, I'm just highlighting these 10 here. But again, I just had to talk about some of the things. I'm going off on a tangent here. But yeah, if you anchor your team with an ace quarterback, you get a good defense, you get a good tight end, and you have some on and off weeks because there's volatility across the board everywhere, guys. Nobody's doing well. 16 rounders. I'm 3-1 in my big money league. I'm doing well, but a lot of people, lost Cooper Kupp. Again, not guys I drafted. T. Higgins, Cooper Kupp, Austin Ekeler, right? Terrible. Nick Chubb, again, a guy I recommended, but I said, I was getting Bijan in round 1, but I was fortunate enough to fade Nick Chubb. So, again, there's so much going on, man. It's been crazy. This is why you got to anchor your team with ace quarterback, top defense. That's why I say get a top 10 defense. Get a tight end that gets you 10 points. Make sure you aim high on the depth chart, and you can fade some of these things that are happening. So anyway, that's not here nor there. Let's keep going here. Dak Prescott, number 6, number 21 amongst quarterbacks here. Put it in context again. Joshua Dobbs is number 15 and Sam Howell is number 19. Okay, 54 points for Dak Prescott over 4 weeks. Unacceptable. When he's got some decent weapons, man. I think CeeDee Lamb got a touchdown last game. Is Dak Prescott. I mean, but again, he was invested with relatively high draft capital. What was he coming off? Around 4 to 6-ish, give or take. And, not doing good at all, okay? Again, we'll go through the honorable mentions here at the end of the show as well. There's some other quarterbacks not doing well at all. So number 6, Dak Prescott. Good weapons, just playing like garbage, okay? Drop a quarterback below that you think has been sucking. Again, this is an interactive show. Number 7 here, Dalvin Cook. A lot of people drafted him. Even knowing they had Breece Hall there, even knowing all this information, they drafted Dalvin Cook with high draft capital. Now, again, I'm a Breece Hall ambassador. He's been doing crap as well. But to go for the RB2 on this team was crazy. Why would you draft Dalvin Cook knowing he was on a decline for years, entering in a situation, even if Aaron Rodgers was healthy, let's say if Aaron Rodgers was healthy, he was entering a situation with the Jets where he was going in as an RB2, doesn't know the offensive scheme there, and again, has been declining for years. So, he's sitting at RB54 right now. 2.5 yards per carry for Dalvin Cook. Looks absolutely terrible. I know Breece Hall's struggling too. He's on this list as well. I'm going to get to him. But Dalvin Cook, who told you to draft him? I mean, that's just pure stupidity. Okay, even if Aaron Rodgers was playing at the beginning of the season, you thought he was going to play, it doesn't matter. Dalvin Cook is trash, okay? Trash. And they're putting him out. He looks terrible on every run. Breece Hall looks a lot better. It almost feels like they know they spent the $9 million on him, and they just want to squeeze, blood out of a stone here. Literally, I'm trying to give you an analogy here. They just want to make sure that they get some sort of value out of him, but every time he runs, he's running for like negative yardage. So 2.5 yards per carry, sitting 54th amongst running backs in fantasy points. Absolutely terrible. Dalvin Cook, trash, garbage. Should have never drafted him. He's a huge, big time bust. He shouldn't even be on this list because he shouldn't even be drafted. But either way, I put him on the list because he's absolute trash. Okay, number 8 here. And then I get to honorable mentions. And again, drop your questions below if you need some help. I get to some of them. But, if you want direct access, go to patreon.com/FFcounselor, okay? Number 8 here is Aaron Jones. 29.1 points over 4 weeks. Mind you, only played 2 games. He's had 14 attempts in those games. A.J. Dillon, a guy that's supposed to step up when Aaron Jones was out, can't even step up. So this is a double whammy. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon suck. I was fortunate enough to fade both of them. Dillon is in a contract year, and he can't do anything to save his life. He's a trash running back. He's had the opportunity, multiple opportunities to really shine. Can't do it. He can't do it. It's like putting you and I in there, okay? As much as we get the opportunity and the volume, we're not going to run more than 1 yard per carry, maybe, right? We're just not going to be able to do it. We're just not physically capable. A.J. Dillon is that. He just sucks. And then when you look at a guy like Aaron Jones, absolute trash, man. Absolute trash. Again, like 14 attempts in 2 games. Crap in the bed, not doing anything. People drafted him high thinking he's going to be an RB1. I told you to fade him. Another one I told you to fade. I told you to fade Ekeler. I told you to fade Cooper Kupp. I told you to fade Aaron Jones. I told you to fade T. Higgins. I told you to fade Justin Fields. Be careful. He hasn't thrown over 2,300 yards. There's so many things that we've been able to dodge as 16-rounders. It's amazing. Mind you, again, we've had our Naji issues. We've had our Dameon Pierce issues. But hey, man, again, I'm 3-1 in a major money league. So if I'm doing well in a huge stakes league with people that just like live and breathe this obsessively and draft in May like I do, then you guys should be doing well, as well with 16 rounds. But either way, you're never going to be 100% right. You're never going to be perfect, but we can get pretty damn close. That's what we want to do. Okay, number 8 here, I got to mention him. It's my guy, Breece Hall. Now, he's had 32 attempts over 4 games. He should have had that in 1 game, okay? Obviously, we know the Jets are a disaster. Zach Wilson, I mean, you don't know what you're going to get out of him. The bright side for Garrett Wilson is that he actually got some volume last game, which is nice. So he's starting to utilize him, which is good news. But when we're talking Breece Hall here as a big-time bust, he has been a bust. And again, partly not his fault. He's not getting the attempts. It was a couple weeks ago. He only had, 4 attempts in a game or something, 4 touches. Guys, they're not going to win games if they're not utilizing his best guy. Then they're feeding the ball to Dalvin Cook. not good. So I got Breece Hall listed as a top 10 bust right now. Maybe they turn things around. Maybe they start utilizing him, but absolutely terrible Breece Hall. And the last one here, a lot of people are drafting him in rounds around 5 to 6 and 12 person league, is DeAndre Hopkins. Now, Tannehill is number 27 in passing attempts, so he's not throwing, okay? DeAndre Hopkins only 39.6 points over 4 weeks, sitting number 46 amongst wide receivers. Guys, this is absolutely ridiculous. This is terrible. This again, he's a veteran wide receiver. I tend to stay away from old wide receivers. Faded Keenan Allen, even though he's having a good year. I fade these older wide receivers. I like the youth, okay? But either way, some of these older wide receivers are doing well. We see Thielen doing well, Adams is doing well, Keenan Allen. But is that sustainable, and are they going to maintain throughout the season? That's something we're going to monitor. But DeAndre Hopkins, big time bust, sitting 46 amongst wide receivers. Let's go through some honorable mentions here. And again, I've mentioned a bunch of honorable mentions as I was talking throughout the episode. Again, Joe Mixon, Jamar Chase, two of them. Deshaun Watson, absolutely crap in the bed. I mean, this is a guy people thought he was going to be an ace quarterback, but when you got guys coming off, a layoff and not being able to play for a while, you're not going to expect, amazing numbers out of them. I wasn't expecting much out of Watson after all those butt massages. So, you got Calvin Ridley here. I don't know what it is, man. It seems like Kirk seems to be the volume guy there. With the Jacksonville Jaguars, they got to utilize Ridley. They're just not, and you can see that. Lawrence is struggling. That offense is struggling. ATN, another bust. A guy I told you to avoid, by the way. I should mention him here. He's an honorable mention. Just not doing good. They're not utilizing Tank Bigsby as much as I want to. He's getting a little bit more workload, getting that goal line work. But again, ATN just lackluster to say the least. Again, Ridley. Jerry Jeudy, I mean, he's been dealing with injuries, so his overall numbers aren't high, but Jerry Jeudy not looking good. Looks like Courtland Sutton's the main guy there. That's okay. Russell Wilson doing better than expected this year for fantasy, not so much for reality. Daniel Jones, who we've already mentioned, we've talked about Daniel Jones, crap in the bed. I mean, he had one good week a couple weeks ago, but other than that, man, just looked like garbage when you watched football yesterday. Again, heading into week 5, Deebo Samuel looking like crap. I don't think he got targeted or got anything last game. It's a CMC showing, hey, man, I'm taking ownership on the CMC right now, but I don't think he's going to last the season. We'll see. And then Jordan Addison, who had 0, put up a donut last week. I mean, you draft him in high capital, and you're not utilizing him, which is absolutely crazy. So, honorable mention for Jordan Addison, who could be doing a lot better than he currently is based on his draft capital in the NFL, all right? So, those are your 10. You got a bunch of honorable mentions. Am I missing somebody? I'm sure I am. That's been absolutely crap in the bed. Drop the name below. Now you can say, oh, yeah, Damian Pierce, that, but he actually came alive last game. So I'm going to have hope for him. CJ Stroud's just throwing the ball, getting settled in. I think he's really good, Damian Pierce. He just needs to get the volume. But yeah, let me know, guys, in the comments below who's been absolutely crap in the bed for you. Drop it below, guys, and these guys need to be held accountable, and I got to go yell at them on social media. All right, guys, we'll talk soon. Subscribe, thumbs up. And if you're new to the channel, again, make sure you guys are subscribed. This is Lion Mentality, guys. This is not your cookie cutter channel. Comment below, subscribe. I'm out, guys. Talk soon.